Now, in the next couple of hours, the latest universal credit figures will be released, and they'll show just how many of us rely on benefits to get by day to day.
Now, many people say these benefits are essential, as if you claim them, you have no other choice. But others say people are just playing the system to get out of work.
So is it time we crack down on benefits? A few moments ago, we spoke to the Shadow Paymaster General, Jonathan Ashworth. Here's what he had to say.
I don't think you should cut universal credit. In fact, I mean, the government did cut it. They took £20 off universal credit and they didn't uplift it in line with inflation last year. So they've already cut it anyway. And it's a very low level of benefit. And a lot of people, if people think that it's a life of Riley, they're claiming the job seekers allow better universal credit, then it really isn't. But what you need to do is you've got to give people proper support in the employment system.
Well, Sophia Worringer agrees with that. She says don't cut universal credit. And there is Henry Bolton, who basically says, yes, cut it. And what way would you cut it, Henry?
Well, I don't mean just sort of simply cut it, because like many things, it's quite complicated. And there are many people who are on benefits, whether they're disability benefits or job seekers allowance or the housing element and so on. So we've got to be able to discriminate between those various parts. But essentially, what we've got to ensure is that people aren't gaming the system for their own advantage, taking money from the taxpayer when they should be and could be contributing to the economy. But the key point here is that it's 2 points. One, it's got to be fair, as I've just implied. But the second thing is we've got to resource the system sufficiently well to be able to ensure that people who are claiming the job seekers allowance element are actually unable to work. Now, to do that, it's not just a case of monitoring whether they're applying for jobs. It's about supporting them. Many people, for example, former armed forces people, veterans, will find it difficult. They find it difficult anyway adapting to the civilian environment. They get very little support still, except from charities. So we've got to help them to adapt to a new environment and understand how to apply for a job and be successful. There are other people who've maybe been out of work for a long time, or people who are older and thought they were going into early retirement, but the economy is forcing them back into work and so on, or back into benefits. They work, but they don't know how to get back in. And we need to be able to retrain and educate our workforce, the people who are available to work and want to work, and put them in. And then if you tick all those boxes, then you, I think, quite legitimately can say, look, we've found you 3 jobs. You've actually not just been found 3 jobs, you've turned 3 jobs down. 3 strikes and you're out. And then on a sliding scale, your benefits are reduced. So that's how I think we should approach this. It's complicated. It needs resourcing, but like everything else, we've got to have the government will and determination to solve a problem.
Yeah. Look, Sophia, I'm sure you're coming from a sort of more compassionate, sort of charitable position in all of this, and yet do you acknowledge that there has to be these kinds of reforms, because there are, would you agree, people who are refusing perfectly good jobs and preferring to sit on their laurels?
So I agree, we definitely need to bring down the benefit bill. We know that it's set to go over 120 billion by 2027, 2028, which is a not sustainable rise. So we do need to bring down the overall cost to the taxpayer. Let's remember, this is a concept of fairness that is really important, that the taxpayer is funding the lives of these people who are not in work. But the best way to bring down the bill is not by cutting the individual amount that each benefit claimant takes home. It's by getting them into work, because cutting the overall amount that they get home is a short-sighted solution, because it will only move the issue to other services, and the costs may be quick to be cut from the welfare system, but they will be soon to be realised elsewhere, and other services will take the strain of those cuts. So it is important that getting people into work is the aim, not just cutting the bill. And there are many ways that we have found at the Centre for Social Justice of getting people into work that actually are sustained and work in the long term. And we've asked for universal support, which has been rolled out across the country. We're very pleased to see £1 billion put into that, but it needs to be delivered at pace, and it needs to be delivered not by huge conglomerates and services that don't know the individual struggles that people find in getting into work. It needs to be delivered by these small charities and agencies across the country that know best the problems that this cohort of people face.
Sophia, thank you very much indeed. Henry, thank you very much indeed for outlining your arguments for and against cutting universal credit. And I would just want